This video is titled, Why Does the Practice of Kung Fu Make the Feet Pointy Looking? A related video on this subject talked about the characters in a cartoon called Dragon Ball Z. The cartoon characters, who are portrayed as powerful Kung Fu men, are drawn with pointy looking feet, as demonstrated in this picture. The other video claimed that the pointy looking feet were not an artistic choice by the cartoon's creators to achieve some sought-after look. The other video claimed that the powerful Kung Fu cartoon characters were drawn with pointy-looking feet because real-life powerful Kung Fu men really have pointy-looking feet. This picture was presented as an example of real-life pointy-looking feet. The other video stated that powerful Kung Fu men had pointy-looking feet because they had a strongly developed yin part of the body. The other video claimed that the long-term practice of certain types of Kung Fu would strongly develop the yin part of the powerful Kung Fu man's body. The developing yin part of their body would then make their feet look pointy because that is one of the changes that the developing yin part of the body makes in a human body. The other video did not offer any further explanation for why the practice of certain types of Kung Fu will make the feet pointy looking. A natural question to ask would be, why does development of the yin part of the body through the practice of certain types of Kung Fu make the feet pointy looking? This video will present other explanations for why the practice of certain types of Kung Fu will make the feet pointy looking. These explanations should provide more insight into why the practice of certain types of Kung Fu and the subsequent development of the yin part of the body will make the feet of a human being pointy looking. The first explanation is based on the egg view of the human body. According to the egg view of the human body can be treated as a large egg located as shown in this picture. According to happy theory, one of the reasons that the human body can be treated as an egg is that at one stage in its development, a human being really was an egg. According to happy theory, the adult human body retains characteristics of the egg that it was at one stage in its development. Further justification for treating the human body as a large egg comes from the fact that the human body behaves like an egg in some ways, and because in some ways the construction of the human body can be described as egg-like. According to happy theory, one of the purposes of high-level Kung Fu is to solidify and strengthen the egg-like nature of the human body. According to happy theory, it is the strengthening of the egg-like nature of the human body that causes the feet to become pointy-looking. This picture shows an overhead view of the egg view of the human body. The sides of the egg curve in from the middle of the egg towards the front of the egg. According to happy theory, the practice of a style of Kung Fu like Tai Chi will coerce the feet into following the curved shape of the egg. This picture shows an overhead view of the egg view of the human body that allows the feet to be seen. According to the egg view of the human body, the outside part of the point on pointy-looking feet is created when the feet curve to match the curved shape of the egg. The feet curve from further back on the egg at the small toe to further forward on the curve of the egg at the big toe. The second explanation for why practicing certain types of Kung Fu will make the feet of a human being pointy looking involves the DNA view of the human body. DNA is a molecule that can be defined as containing the instructions to build a human being. A DNA molecule consists of two opposing spirals with straight pieces connecting the two spirals across the empty space between them. According to the DNA view of the human body can be treated as a large DNA molecule located as shown in this picture. One spiral travels from the left hand to the left foot, while the other spiral travels from the right hand to the right foot. The DNA view of the human body also states that the arms and the legs can be treated as if they are constructed of large DNA molecules, as demonstrated in this picture. According to the DNA view of the human body, The reason that the practice of certain types of Kung Fu makes the feet pointy looking is that the practice of certain types of Kung Fu will cause the DNA spirals within the legs to rotate. The rotation of the DNA spirals within the legs exerts a rotational force on the feet, which coerces the feet into following the spiral shape of the DNA molecule. This picture shows an overhead view of a section of a spiral centered on the leg that is meant to represent one of the DNA spirals within the legs. Proof that the object is a spiral can be found in the one free cutoff end of the spiral above ground level, while the other free end has spiraled down below the level of the floor. According to the DNA view of the human body, the outside part of the point on pointy-looking feet are created by the curvature of the foot from further back on the DNA spiral at the small toe to further forward on the DNA spiral at the big toe. The coil spring view of the human body provides a third explanation for why the practice of certain types of Kung Fu will make the feet of a human being pointy looking. According to the coil spring view of the human body, each side of the human body can be treated as two opposing coil springs, located as shown in this picture. The coil springs run from the top of the head down to the feet. According to Happy Theory, the practice of certain types of Kung Fu will cause the coil springs to rotate. The rotating coil springs exert a rotational force on the entire side of the body, including the feet. According to the coil spring view of the human body, the outside part of the point on pointy-looking feet are created by the curvature of the foot from further back on the coil spring at the small toe to further forward on the coil spring at the big toe. The DNA view of the human body explanation and the coil spring view of the human body explanation are very similar. Both of them involve treating the legs as opposing pairs of spirals. Opposing DNA spirals for the DNA view of the human body explanation, and opposing spiral coil springs for the coil spring view of the human body explanation. All three explanations are basically the same. Each explanation claims that the practice of certain types of Kung Fu will exert a force on the feet that makes the outside of each foot conform to the shape of some curved object. The only difference between each explanation is the curved object that the feet are conforming to the shape of. The feet conform to the curve of an egg for the egg view of the human body explanation, the curve of a DNA molecule for the DNA view of the human body explanation, and the curve of a coil spring for the coil spring view of the human body explanation. Regardless of which of the three theoretical models presented in this video, the viewer finds to be the most helpful with visualizing why a real-life powerful Kung Fu man has pointy-looking feet, the viewer should keep the main point of this video in mind. The main point of this video is that the practice of certain types of Kung Fu will create a rotational force in the legs and feet of a human being. The long-term practice of these types of Kung Fu and the resulting long-term action of Kung Fu-generated rotational forces on the legs and the feet is what gives the feet of powerful Kung Fu men their characteristic pointy look.